10 minutes or so.
Don't start that.
Sorry.
Well, seeing 6 members of the design review committee in the room, I will call it to order. First item would be to approve the minutes from our last meeting in January. That motion, second by Dave. Sorry,
That's
you'll get the
right.
next one. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none, so I will sign.
I make it.
Okay. So, like officers, I think we didn't do it in January because there was an appointment that was in flux or had a day or something.
Yes, that is correct.
I move for same officers. Yeah, second that. All in favor?
My
accuracy.
We've been overruled there.
I guess you didn't have a chance to.
Yeah,
You're right.
Happy to do it. All right. Okay. Well, no old business, so we want to start talking about 96 West Broadway Street.
98, I
90,
saw that there was,
98.
it's 98, there is no 96.
All right.
Okay, we'll make that correction.
Thanks for coming in. You want to just kind of outline the
Yeah,
project for
And
us?
first off, at 7:30 this morning, I got a call to watch the 5-year-old with the fever, so I came directly from there.
No.
I know I'm a little lousy. Anyhow, and obviously this isn't on the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty small project. And so I'm sorry, those are pictures I took, I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to sending things electronically,
No
so
worries.
anyhow.
Yeah, it's great.
So, the siding that we wanna put on, we looked at what's in the area, and honestly, just kind of the normal. This is not the one I took a picture of, but it's pretty dang on close, so it's kind of though we would bring to it. Pale gray, some of us wanted white. And I go red by the rest of my board. So we're gonna put, we wanna put the siding on there now is the old horrible aluminum, and we're having pieces come off in the corner of that, so we really need to side it. I think it stays with the traditional look of the town. Given the fact that that building used to be a livery, you know, it could look a lot, I hate to say worse, but it could. And then along with that, we're gonna put a railing up around the porch, which is the house, the kind of greenish colored house is kitty corner across the street from it. A railing up around the porch, the 2 steps up, and then a new back door. New back door is needed because we have a back door with a window in it that you could break and open doors. It's almost like why lock it. And then the railing will be somewhat similar to that. We actually had one of our board members step backwards, even though it's really only this far off the ground, and she ended up, yes. So that's what
Is
we're
that a
doing.
vinyl railing or
Yeah.
aluminum? Vinyl? What do you do with that?
Well, what we're already doing with it, because we've had it for 2 years now, we do, we have a lot of storage in it from overflow from the museum. At the moment, a lot of pictures, a lot of books. Again, some of the star stuff stays there from year to year. Old newspapers,
Storage.
storage basically, and we do have the front room we do use as a board meeting room. But that's and also, like they were putting together centerpieces for the Answers to the Stars, so we worked on there. We do the Christmas tree for the square, they work on it there, so it's a workspace for us. Don't really have a public yet. Our next door neighbor to the left, if I could remember his name, I would tell you, but the fellow at the Craftsman House, he keeps an eye on us, very happy with us being there. Laundromats, same way, so I think our neighbors are quite pleased that we're there and taking care of it.
You know, and you may know this, and it's always been my understanding as far, that was a house.
Right.
And that is the oldest residential structure in town.
Maybe, and we tried checking that, because of course Phil Gully said that to us. And because he used to deliver newspapers next door, and the old man there, and then, looking at the, not Corson, there's a name, there's fire, Sanborn things, it actually faced Jefferson, it looks like, and then got rotated. Because as soon as we moved in, of course, Bill Eddy was in the basement and said, this house got moved, and this is where they, and so we started our own search. So we can't verify it, but if it's not the oldest remaining, it's one of the very oldest.
So what were you saying about a livery?
Oh, go back to like 1850, it was a livery. It faced Jefferson, and they had, we had somebody in from Indiana Landmarks, he really came out, he was new, to look at the museum, and then we had him look at that, and even though, kind of sadly for the people who were there, it's got what was 2 bedrooms upstairs, but he looked at it and kind of thought what we did. The upstairs was probably whatever the business part of it, that then got a couple walls put in to make it into 2 bedrooms, and then the attic is not really an attic, like the space between that is very narrow, so our upper floor would have been probably a big, whatever storage, businessy things they would have used for that. None of which makes any, it's probably been that way for 100 years, so it's the fun of having a very, very old house.
And you all have had it for a couple of years, you say?
Yes, and we have done, we had a new furnace in, we did work on the basement, we added some drains, enlarged the sump pump, a dehumidifier who drains into it, put up some vinyl, because the one corner, like the newer part of the basement, has got some dirt to it, so we've got the heavy duty, whatever, plastic thing on. So we've improved that portion of it, and we put some more support beams up in the basement. 2 years ago, Hendricks Power came and had a work day, and we did a lot of painting inside and helped us with some things. So we don't foresee ever having a sign there, because first off, we don't want to confuse people who can't read signs as we have learned. They can't read closed signs on the museum on the door as they walk in. And we don't want to advertise, oh, yes, oh, Patty, no, let's see the light. And we don't particularly want to advertise that there isn't somebody living there day to day. But again, the nice thing is our next door neighbor is very watchful over us, so that's the nice thing. And there are several of us who, of course, are driving by there all the time, and we're stopping in. So we've had 0 issues. Perhaps in the past, there were issues with smoking or other use back in the back, but we haven't seen any evidence of that. So.
We're a title insurance company.
Title insurance
So.
And didn't you have an application a couple of years ago for like an
Yes.
outbuilding or something? Or addition or shed?
To make sure that you would okay us to put up and Hendricks Power did that, they got us just your little backyard shed back there. And we probably, gutters is the other
Yeah,
one.
that's what I was thinking.
So the gutters have been replaced. So we're kind of hoping we're done without, I shouldn't say that. I would love to put new windows in, and at some point, probably the next 2 years, when we do new roof, and I suspect that'll be a complete tear off. So, I can tell you, you used to own the house, you know. But it's fine, nothing wrong with him, but it was,
Merle?
wasn't necessarily great to maintain.
That Merle.
Yes, so. But it's an older woman who I believe died in the place, only because fire department said, I think we were in here before. Yeah, so,
And you'd have no idea, once you take the siding off, what you're gonna find
It's wood
underneath that.
you can see from the
Old
corners.
wood siding?
It's old wood boards, I don't know exactly, but it's not gonna be anything that we've had two contractors gave us a quote, they basically both told us, they both work in old houses, they told us the same thing.
Right.
And, no, there is nothing savable
Okay,
that doesn't need to be covered up underneath.
okay. And the windows, of course, have been changed over the years.
Oh,
There's
yes.
no interest in trying to go back to original window openings or sizes?
Honestly, your original window openings probably would not vary a whole lot other than that picture window might turn into a couple side by side,
Mhm.
up and down. It's not our intention, Indiana Landmark said, oh, it's an old house, it doesn't have any particular value.
Right.
So,
It's been much better.
yeah. But, yeah, I would foresee that, I don't know if we actually replace it. The rest of the windows have probably been the same for quite a while. Well, and there's an addition that was put on at some point in the back. It was the kitchen. I don't think I gave you a picture of it.
Well.
Yeah, right there. And again, that would be so far down the way before we would do anything. The size is adequate for our needs.
So the windows on the dormers,
The dormers were probably added
Okay,
at some point. That's what the
Okay.
Indian Landmarks guys said. Because I think that whenever they went to live up there, they put dormers in. They have some light. And I think we would want to keep them because we do have things up there and intend on having some more things up there. And having some light is helpful, although we have to filter it because we don't want to fade things that we have. So. And, I think we now have blinds, not the skinny blinds, the wider blinds under those windows.
Yeah, I think my suggestion would be when they take off the siding, just if there's anything like significant there
Yeah.
or some kind of previous pattern, your
Oh.
historic organization,
Yeah.
take photos to kind of document the history.
We will, but
So-
again, both contractors that gave us quotes work on lots of old houses, that's why we went to them. And they're not expecting to find anything. When we also replaced the door, which was probably part of the better thing, the front door. That was interesting. But not as old as you might think on the outside because there was some newspaper shoved in to help. I wouldn't really call it insulation, but whatever. And she's like, oh, well, how old is it? No, it was like from the 50s. It wasn't that old. So.
Yeah, the real world is not like HGTV. Every time on HGTV they take off siding,
Oh.
it's perfect underneath.
No, and again, you can see when you're up close looking at the corners, it's really, really worn wood. Is what we see.
Pretty sure Picasso painted it,
All right.
Yeah. Oh, don't talk about inside. We had to paint some hand painted peace sign and a tree, but they were painted like with a big paint. I think there may have been a heart too.
So you're going with this texture and not this one?
That's the one we're going with. So I didn't make it home to pick up the right one. So this one is a little more textured than that.
Yeah.
That is my front porch cement. So that's kind of maybe showing up a little bit bluer than what the color would be. So it's more of a blue than looking here under this light that looks a little yellow with undertones, but it's slightly more textured. If y'all we thought you would prefer that. That makes very little difference to us because we could have it where it's more flat.
I think this is actually better texture. In this location, I'm afraid you're gonna get a lot of dust and dirt settling on that grain.
And we're not, again, our basic rule for anything we've had done is we need to have something as easy to clean and
Right.
as little to do
Right.
and no
And,
pain.
and the smoother would be easier to clean and
And-
cleans.
And
Yeah.
again, we don't particularly care. We actually did have it washed, the aluminum washed, again, like 2 years ago. And that's when it was obvious that the aluminum is just worthless, so.
And then any window trim, door trim, will that be the same
Yeah.
color, or will you keep a white accent?
No,
to
because
it,
it's not, I don't think we'll do white because usually you like to accent something that looks nice and none of that really looks fantastic, so. But I mean,
The
again, we
windows,
can
the
do it either
windows,
way.
the windows are fine. Yeah, right. I understand.
In the front, I believe so.
So they'll stay white. Yeah, you still have the contrast between, okay, windows and doors, so.
And the gutters, of course, will stay the color they are because they're white.
Pre-finished.
That funky gutter.
It is a funky gutter and we looked to see if there was anything else to be done and there is not.
Yeah.
And probably when they put those in originally, nobody worried about gutters.
Or they had a big front porch across it that drained onto that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be very surprised to see if we have that, it's possible, but, I don't know at what point these big gray slabs became a thing, but once you start looking for them around town, they're all over the place. They're big, ugly, flat cement.
Oh,
things.
the porches.
Yeah. So. Not ugly, just old.
Yeah. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Okay. So you agree, you wanna make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to remove the existing aluminum siding and install new vinyl siding
With a flatter.
with the recommendation that it's a flatter, less,
Smoother fit.
yeah.
That's fine.
Right.
And that, you do take photographs when that siding comes off, because that, yeah, like you said, I believe you can find a pair of windows there, and a pair of windows there, so.
Maybe, but we're glad to
Yeah.
document all that.
Yeah, and the door's fine.
Need a second? Second by Terry. Jennifer's disappointed. All right.
She can do it when the meeting's adjourned.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you very much.
Good
Got
work.
a question, what, is this a facade grant eligible project?
Yes, it is.
Okay, are you getting that?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And then the second,
Well, I don't know if we're getting one, but I'm
you're gonna apply.
I'm
for it,
applying one. And I guess my question for Lisa is because, again, my technological skills are horrid. And I prepared one and I thought I'd take it and I haven't found it. And I don't know, does it have to be typed?
We're talking about the application?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
You're gonna have to go through,
Oh, here.
Right.
the partnership.
Right, right.
Yeah,
And
but I wouldn't think that it would have to be typed.
Just,
Yeah.
Again, I may go home and it'll be right there in my
Yes.
documents, but, or I might have deleted it, so.
And
Because
then,
as Terry knows, I had people who did that. Who do these things.
I know too.
Yeah,
On the application fees, we upped our commercial number. Okay, and as a nonprofit, do they not get any
We didn't waive the fee.
waiver for
No,
that?
they
Have
didn't, we
we-
didn't request a
Have we
waiver,
ever
so we
done
didn't.
that?
We have waived fees, not for design review committee, but, we have waived a couple of times that I know of. Just recently, the Danville School Corporation asked to waive their plan commission fees, so,
we're fine. I did originally submit it with the old fee.
Yeah. yeah, no application, yeah.
So we're gonna get our applications actually changed to the new ones on
It is now, she just happened.
I happened
Yeah,
to
no,
pull up an old,
okay.
well, probably from the
The one
last
you
time.
used
Yes,
last time.
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So, Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with that.
Yeah, oh, the other thing, let you know, time frame. We have a contractor who, of course, is building houses, doing stuff, on whether sometime this summer. I can't tell you.
Just do the contract.
Busey out of Liston, he works a lot in the western part of the county and over in Putnam. Busey. He is the one who did the drain stuff and that's in the basement. The other person we looked at was Adam Parsons, who works out in the Belleville area. It's John Parsons' son. And the same, he did the door and some of the others, they're close, everything were the same. But they're sole contractors, they have a few people working for them, they work by word of mouth, they don't advertise and say don't need to. So,
Pat, I wanted to
Yes.
tell you, this will be on the plan commission agenda next week,
Okay,
because they have to approve it.
okay,
They will more than likely accept their recommendation. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't.
Okay.
But it has to go to the plan commission.
okay, so I have another week before to turn in the site grant.
Oh, you can go ahead and turn it in. I mean, you know, they're not gonna grant you the money in 3 or 4 days, are they?
I doubt it.
Okay.
I'm hoping.
You should go fine by going ahead and submitting the application.
So, as we say, we don't really, other than our fundraiser, we don't really make money. I mean, we sell a few books, but that's really for our costs.
Yeah.
That's about it. So, there we go. Well, thank you very much. Good to see some of you again. It's been a while.
Thank you for what you do.
Things exciting going on?
All kinds of things. Don't you read chatter?
Oh my gosh.
We will have probably a meeting next month. I've been talking to a couple of people, so I'm assuming they will probably get an application for next month.
New restaurants, I hope.
Not right now.
No. So that Burger Thing never came through at the.
As it is, they keep saying they're going to, but you know,
Who's that?
It's like a burger, a tap burger kind of thing.
right where the,
That's right.
no, nothing
Oh,
good.
the other
It was
guy.
gonna, we talked to Kevin Coffey
Okay.
about locating there. They were gonna do, they're on a couple proposals, but I think by the time, they'd have to sprinkle the building and the owner wasn't gonna do any of it. It was gonna be up to the tenant, so. they decided not to.
Which building is this?
Fast track
Track, the
on
new building.
the west side of,
Banners, yeah.
yeah.
Captain Coffee. They're the ones
They've
that
already
are
moved
here. Another branch.
They were just gonna add another facility. They had also, they were gonna do, axe throwing up in the upper part of the building and
Yeah, I've got
That's
some
just
stumps in my
something
yard.
else.
Yeah.
Not
Little golf.
Anybody with an
virtual
axe
golf
wants
or something, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Axe through.
Like
Is it
a-
That's-
just-
that's
was
a
it
real
just like
thing.
hyped up on coffee, axe throwing as opposed to the normal beer drinking axe throwing?
We've been talking to a lot of people, down here at the Pence property in Tillsville. We've been meeting with a developer on that. Child Protective Services is proposing to go into that property. They're gonna tear the buildings down and construct a new building at the rear of the property. In the front, they're talking to, someone right now. They haven't really released that information, so.
They have another building in front of the.
Yeah, but it'll actually
Not
be
just
an
a big
additional, 4 lots.
What's the CPS tearing down behind there?
Oh, no. Are they clearing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're
They're
preparing for there'll be a
For-
lot behind
for that.
CVS on east and west side of, what is that? Stratford Ridge or Ridge, whatever it is. Yeah. There will be 2 lots back there, one at each side of that drive, and then there's 2 lots going into the Pence property.
Heard it's where the bypass is gonna
Is this the Crawfordsville group doing the original? that was
It's
working?
Tharp, Don Tharp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we had several meetings with them. Working on a hotel. Have you heard rumors
A
about
hotel,
that? Yeah.
Still out here?
Yes, out by the Walmart.
Right.
And, we've been able to apply the READY grant funds for the wastewater project that's gonna help that. So, they're doing their due diligence and
Diesel's gonna open next week.
Huh?
Yeah.
How far west is our district?
the corporate limits.
No, they're over.
Over.
Oh,
Let's go ahead.
when you read the ordinance,
You're not past Crick.
it says,
Francisco Creek then.
it says any property on Main Street or 36. So I'm assuming as long as anything gets annexed, that will continue.
Okay.
Now, if you look at the map doesn't show it, which I've had several arguments with Barry about that, because he says if it's not on the map, it's not part of it. But
Right.
if you read the wording, it includes all the property along 36 and Main Street.
All the way through, town.
right.
One property deep and around the courthouse.
Right.
And that would include,
So we did
It
do
would go as far as the corporate limits.
Correct.
And I know we've looked at stuff at North Zone.
I guess,
So
That brings them-
anything in the new development,
yeah, that's what I was wondering.
basically would come before us too, right? Because that was
Yes.
it.
And the conversations I've had with Tharp, I've given them all of those requirements. Here's what you have to design the building to look like, and it has to meet all this criteria.
Yeah, I mean, Tharp came in before when they were talking about the O'Reilly place, right?
well, did they build the, where subway or pin station?
Yeah,
Built that building.
that's Tharp too, yeah. So they should,
Well, they do
they
a
should.
nice job. He's class act, he does a good job.
So years ago, I remember we talked about the log building that's inside the Will's barn there. That eventually, I think that development's gonna engulf all that, right?
Where, what?
In the barn, it's the Miles property, right?
Right.
In one of those barns is a log building with the barn built.
Like a
They just built
I did
two-pen
not know that.
dog truck type of thing that
Yeah.
the barn's been built up.
The building west of there is the schoolhouse.
Right.
Mhm.
That's going away.
Yeah, that's.
They did do, investigated possibly moving it, because that was one of the things that was talked about during the rezone. And they said that it won't survive a move, so it's gonna go. But they are going to keep that log building and make it part of their whole development.
Charlie told me when he first moved here, the 36 was a gravel road.
I remember when 200 West was a gravel road. That hasn't been that long ago.
No, it hasn't been long at all, Lisa.
Just a couple years ago.
I remember when Lincoln was president.
So yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on right now.
Good.
We're looking at, doing a traffic impact fee. We've been doing that for about the last year. Getting ready to come to a close on that. We're looking at alternate routes for the town of Danville. State says we don't need a bypass. No. Traffic is slow at peak hours.
It's better than Avon.
It is much better than Avon.
Go to
Brownsburg.
Go to Brownsburg, go anywhere.
Go anywhere.
Welcome to the new world.
Yeah.
I was really pleased to get up this morning and turn the TV on, there wasn't any blood letting. I sure was gonna make the national news, you know.
We actually had someone, I can't remember.
Yeah.
That timed, this was during rush hour, that timed getting all the way through town from like Kroger to the west side of town. It was like 5 minutes.
Well, isn't
It
it,
seems like a
Yeah, it
lot.
does seem
It
like-
seems like longer than that, but it really isn't.
isn't it true that like 20 or 30% of the traffic dissipates in Danville? It doesn't go out the outside of Danville.
Yeah. Right.
I tell you, the dazzler is come on 39 at 5 o'clock, people come south on 39, come out 74. There's a bunch of traffic there.
And that's gonna continue to increase, especially with all of the development in Lebanon.
Yep.
So they're,
My thing is improve 39.
So they,
70 up to
So
10,
people
right?
take
Get rid of those.
Yeah.
So the
Get rid of those
semis use
zigzags.
the highways instead of our street.
Exactly, make 39 an easier route down to the
And we've
interstate,
had-
and that would intercept the line.
Those are some of the conversations that we've had with the state, because, you know, if you're coming from the south, a semi, where they have to go, is awful, you know, and,
Are you talking about south?
yeah, like, yeah, just trying to get out on 36, because if they're making a left-hand turn to go back up to 39 north, it's impossible.
I think years ago, like Mayflower Trucking had a driving school that they sent their new guys to. And one of the final tests was to drive down 39 south.
Yes.
Yeah,
Drive
yeah,
through
really,
there.
that's a true story.
Yeah.
It's like Mayflower Trucking, if you can make it there, you can.
You get from point A to point B, you're in.
We'll give you an hour and a half.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody is familiar with the Kimberly property. Kimberly property, so it's for sale. And
Where
we
is
talked to,
Oh,
it's
okay.
just north of the
Oh.
school, North Elementary. David Moore has come into the office and talked about developing that piece of property. I don't know where it's gonna go, he wants
Which
to, I think,
30 acres.
no, it's like 15, yeah.
Develop it as what?
Well, he wants to put his residence in the rear of the property and do a strip center in the front. He has a lot of obstacles to go through though. to possibly do that.
So get the school right there.
But the town says, okay, maybe we can get our extension back up to 39 for that part of our bike paths.
Which if we had several of those, like Brownsburg's had it,
Yeah.
and Plainfield's got
Start
them,
somewhere.
those are, that helps alleviate for the town people anyway.
Right.
That's what I told
Right.
anybody that's lived here, especially those pushing for a bypass, knows that you
Don't
don't,
do
you
it.
avoid it, you
Right.
know, or you go to the
You
light
find
and
a way
cross.
around it.
Yeah, we know our ways around, so it's not a big deal.
Right.
It doesn't bother me.
Tell you what, you go on the south side of Brownsburg now,
Yeah.
there's so much places that I've never seen before. There it is, like, where am I? I'm in Brownsburg. Seriously.
Your street signs are purple, that's how you know.
Yeah.
Still there, Brownsburg, right?
And by the way, I'm too cheap to update my GPS, so it didn't work. So I went back to basics, the sun sets in the west.
So, this is the truth. I don't know if any of you know where I live off of 10th Street. And we have a new subdivision next to us. So the deliveries for the people in the subdivision come to our barn, which is right next to the subdivision.
What delivered things.
Yes, Amazon, everybody, they come
Oh,
up
how
our
funny.
driveway.
And they just
Well,
leave it
right
there.
We have a sign that says Judith Lane. You know, we don't live on the street where your delivery is going, but they're using GPS and it takes them to our barn.
Oh my gosh.
Craziest
Wow.
thing.
Tell you what, sign for it, it might be something good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put a sign out
And
there
then
that
holding
says,
Yeah. You
no
want this back?
deliveries to the barn.
The FedEx and UPS sign, whoever else, you know.
Yeah. Yes, right, exactly, that's what I need to do. GPS, let's see.
I know that in our neighborhood, it's unbelievable, the new houses, they put them up just bang, 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 bang.
And they're selling them too.
Mm,
That's
yeah.
what's amazing.
There are cars that park there in the driveway.
Yeah.
We have people walking our neighborhood that we have no idea, nobody thinks about their dog, it's amazing.
Mhm.
Times have changed, guys.
For sure.
They come from right across.
We're coming out, make a big circle, go back out, you see it too? Maybe we just get it like a Kool-Aid stand down in the corner.
It's money.
Yeah, there you go.
Kool-Aid's a quarter, beer's $5.
You can make a lot of friends that way. You'll figure out who they are.
Alright.
All right.
Alright.
Kind of adjourned then.
We need a motion and a second?
I'll second.